What's up, guys? Welcome back to Lovecraftian Gamer. Tonight, we're going to be playing a really cool game. But it's also barely a game at all. It's a fabulous game, covers the story of Dagon. I've already beat this all the way through. It doesn't take very long, it's pretty quick. I'm going to go ahead and just start a new game. Let's see if it'll let me go controller. It will. Yeah, let's do it. So, Dagon, right here, it clearly says it's a faithful interactive adaptation of H.P. Lovecraft's work, focused on story and atmosphere. You will not find difficult choices, action sequences, or inventory management here, and movement is limited to progressing through locations along with the plot.
I am writing this under an appreciable mental strain, since by tonight I shall be no more. Penniless, and at the end of my supply of the drug which alone makes life endurable, I can bear the torture no longer, and shall cast myself from this garret window into the squalid street below. Do not think from my slavery to morphine that I am a weakling or a degenerate. When you have read these hastily scrawled pages, you may guess, though never fully realize, why it is that I must have forgetfulness or death. It was in one of the most open and least frequented parts of the broad Pacific that the packet of which I was supercargo fell a victim to the German sea raider.
We can zoom. We can look around some. I've got no movement right now. So really, we're just going to progress to
The Great War was then at its very beginning, and the ocean forces of the Hun had not completely sunk to their later degradation.
There are moments in this game that are absolutely beautiful, and this is one of them. I really like that.
So that our vessel was made a legitimate prize, whilst we of her crew were treated with all the fairness and consideration due us as naval prisoners.
You've never read Dagon, this is a good adaptation. Oh look, we've got an Elder Sign. So when we find an Elder Sign, we get lore pieces. The Huns. The Huns were Central Asian nomads. I'm not going to read all that, but it goes into lore, not just Lovecraftian lore. Sometimes it is, but this is just lore about the Huns in general. Yep, so this option here will let you be more immersed, where you can just pick it up and not read it, or you can read the lore piece. Pretty cool.
So liberal, indeed, was the discipline of our captors, that 5 days after we were taken, I managed to escape alone, in a small boat, with water and provisions for a good length of time.
I mean, you're probably already getting the gist of the game. We're playing through the story of it.
When I finally found myself adrift and free, I had but little idea of my surroundings. Never a competent navigator, I could only guess vaguely by the sun and stars that I was somewhat south of the equator.
So this is one of my Lovecraft books. This is the complete Cthulhu mythos. So here is Dagon in the book, and when I finally found myself adrift and free, I had built little idea of my surroundings. Never a competent navigator, I could only guess vaguely by the sun and stars that I was somewhat south of the equator. Dagon. If you've never read Dagon, it's a great read.
Of the longitude, I knew nothing, and no island or coastline was in sight.
This is a great way to experience it. So we're out in the sea. We can look out, see what we see.
weather kept fair, and for uncounted days I drifted aimlessly beneath the scorching sun, waiting either for some passing ship or to be cast on the shores of some habitable land.
You might be wondering who would pay for a game like this. One, I would, but it's actually free. You can download it on Steam for free.
But neither ship nor land appeared, and I began to despair in my solitude upon the heaving vastness of unbroken blue. The change happened whilst I slept. Its details I shall never know, for my slumber, though troubled and dream-infested, was continuous.
Dear Lord.
When at last I awoke, it was to discover myself half sucked into a slimy expanse of hellish black mire, which extended about me in monotonous undulations as far as I could see, and in which my boat lay grounded some distance away. Though one might well imagine that my first sensation would be of wonder at so prodigious and unexpected a transformation of scenery, I was in reality more horrified than astonished. For there was in the air and in the rotting soil a sinister quality which chilled me to the very core.
Quite sinister, for sure.
The region was putrid with the carcasses of decaying fish and of other, less describable things which I saw protruding from the nasty mud of the unending plain. Perhaps I should not hope to convey in mere words the unutterable hideousness that can dwell in absolute silence and barren immensity. There was nothing within hearing and nothing in sight save a vast reach of black slime. Yet the very completeness of the stillness and the homogeneity of the landscape oppressed me with a nauseating fear. The sun was blazing down from a sky which seemed to me almost black in its cloudless cruelty, as though reflecting the inky marsh beneath my feet.
You can get to the boat.
As I crawled into the stranded boat, I realized that only one theory could explain my position. Through some unprecedented volcanic upheaval, a portion of the ocean floor must have been thrown to the surface, exposing regions for which innumerable millions of years had lain hidden under unfathomable watery depths.
You'll see that, right? Okay, so you get the idea. I don't want to spoil the whole game because the game is the story. I did want to pull this up. Let's see if I can do this real quick. When I played this, I played it on the Steam Deck. Alright, so this is the way to play these interactive story games. So I'm on the Steam Deck right now. I'm streaming to the computer, but I'm using the Steam Deck primarily as for a controller purpose right now. So I've got the gyroscope enabled and it kicks on with touch. So, oh yeah. And so really here, I can really just take in the landscape and look around and see. Oh, amazing. Amazing.
So great was the extent of the new land which had risen beneath me that I could not detect the faintest noise of the surging ocean, straining my ears as I might.
I highly
recommend any
recommend
seafowl to prey upon the dead things.
Yeah, so, and we can still stick if we want to.
For several hours I sat thinking or brooding in the boat, which lay upon its side and afforded a slight shade as the sun moved across the heavens.
So there you have it. I'm going to end there with the gameplay because it would just waste so much if I went any further. It continues like that through the story. You see amazing things, great artwork, and that's what the game is. You saw it all right there. You can also play this on VR, and that would be really cool. I think this is a very untapped but growing space, and I think it's a really cool idea. All right, so now we're at the part where I arbitrarily rank this game against nothing else and give it some points to say what I want to say. First of all, lore. I'm going to go 5 out of 5 on lore, because how do you get more lore in a game than using word for word what H.P. Lovecraft wrote? That's 100% lore. That's as good as it gets. So 5 out of 5. Good job, Dagon. Aesthetic. Again, the setting is 100% as described in the book. It can't get more Lovecraft than that. It looks great. It feels great. We're getting into gameplay territory here. I would like to be able to explore it more. It would be amazing if I could walk around and explore that region, but that's just not the game it is. And so I'm not going to take away from the aesthetic because of the gameplay structure. So aesthetic, I'm again going to say 5 out of 5 because I don't understand how I could dock it. I just can't, right? And then finally, last category is gameplay. It's not a video game. It's an interactive VR experience. It's a 3D environment. And years ago, that would have been a video game. There wouldn't have been another way to describe it. But the fact that it's on Steam and the fact that it says play when you click on it doesn't mean it's a video game. And so I'm going to say gameplay, it is a 0 out of 5. It's not a video game. Actually, no, sorry, that's not fair. That's not fair. I'm going to say 1 out of 5 because it functions and there are some click on things. There was opportunity to make mistake and they didn't. So I'm going to say 1 out of 5 on gameplay. There's no gameplay elements, but it functions as what it is. And so that's really well ranking. Again, we're kind of in a vacuum where if we held it against the sinking city, tough battle. We held it against, the shore or some other games that we're going to look at on this channel. Maybe it doesn't hold up competitively 1v1, but again, the ranking's arbitrary, and I'd say you'd be hard pressed to argue that you could get any more lore or any more aesthetic than taking it literally from the pages. So that's Dagon. Awesome game. Go check it out. It might not be your thing if you like video games, but if you like the stories, man, it's a great way to experience Lovecraft. It's great, great, great. Come back next time.